Okay, so for our next story right over here, we got possibly the most anticipated trailer because my god, this was long overdue. I mean, for the longest time, all we have gotten was just little promotional pieces, we got posters, we got a picture, but we got nothing in terms of little clips like teaser trailers or a full trailer or anything like that. So this absolutely was long overdue. And this is actually something that really did intrigue a lot of people, including myself, to see what DreamWorks would actually do with this. But considering that the Boss Baby is around the corner and this trailer would most likely appear before the Boss Baby, it's about time that we have finally got it. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have finally received the trailer of Captain Underpants, the first movie. Finally, we have gotten it. Now, for those of you who don't know, Captain Underpants, of course, is based on the ever-popular kids' books by Dave Pickley, and I just want to say right now, when I was a kid, Captain Underpants was my jam. I kid you not. I actually still have the books with me. I haven't read all of them. I've only went up to maybe like the 6th or the 7th one. The last I checked was that I don't know if it's either the 8th one or if it's the 7th one, but it ended up with George and Harold and a pterodactyl suddenly being transported or teleported or in a time machine or something like that. Maybe someone can comment which one it ended off. I kind of stopped right there. But yeah, this is just to say that I loved reading Captain Underpants when I was a kid. Like, they were an awesome and hilarious series of books. And it is actually pretty interesting to hear that DreamWorks would actually want to turn this into a feature film. And so, what we got in the trailer right over here is that it does look like it's going to stay more true to the first book, where we see the origin of how George and Harold, that they would often get in trouble in school, and then they suddenly decide they're going to go hypnotize their principal and turn him into one of the characters that they decided to create in comic form known as Captain Underpants. And then afterwards, it looks like it's going to be combining elements from the first 4 books, where you do have the talking toilet, and also Professor Poopy Pants is going to be prominent in here, and he could actually be the main villain in this picture. And from what I've seen right over here, I'm going to be very honest with you guys, as a Captain Underpants fan and also as an animation critic, I can either see this really work out tremendously, or it can also fail miserably. Because here's my thing. I can definitely see the effort that's put into it. I definitely do like a lot of the things that I do see. Like, for one, the humor, yeah, it's silly, it's immature, but so is the comic. Not the comic, but so are the books. Like, it definitely does stay true to the tone of it, where it's not going to be really taking itself seriously. And I mean, on a movie called Captain Underpants, there's no way that you can really take it seriously. Like, you cannot make this into, like, Batman versus Superman Dawn of Justice. Unless you want to try to parody, like, the ending, just, like, have Captain Underpants or just George and Harold just go out, "Save Martha!" You know, just something like that. I don't know. But, yeah, like, it definitely has the tone of humor. And, like, there are some funny moments. I'm not going to say, like, laugh out loud moments like I had with the Despicable Me 3 trailers, but I can definitely see that it does have some funny moments, and, yeah, the tone stays true to the books. But also, another element that really does stay true to the books is actually the animation. Just by looking at it, it really does stay true to the illustrations from Dave Pickley. Or, wait, is it Dave Pickley? Pilkey, sorry about that. Yeah, Dave Pilkey. And, wait, is Dave Pilkey also the guy who did the illustrations, or is he just the writer of it? or maybe he did both. Like I tried checking if the illustrations were done by someone else, but maybe it's actually done by Dave. But anyways, yeah, the animation, it definitely does stay true to the simplistic style that the books originally offered. So it can have a little bit of that Peanuts movie vibe in there, except the only difference between the Peanuts movie and Captain Underpants is that in Captain Underpants, the animation is much more fluid. It's not like taking away a few frames or trying to be reminiscent to classic cartoons or stuff like that. No, the animation here is a lot more fluid with what they want to do. And it does make sense that they want to go into the cartoony route. I'm hoping that it's not going to go too much into the cartoony route, but yeah, it does make sense with the style that it has, and especially with the tone that they want to do something that's a little bit more rubbery and a little bit cartoony at the same time. And, you know, there are some moments that it can work out well. And plus the fact that, like, we're not getting a lot from here. Like, I've read that apparently in Captain Underpants, what's going to happen is that we're going to get a lot more different styles. Like, there's going to be a few points where we're going to see some 2D animation at the same time, and especially with all the different villains that they would have, and plus the fact that we do have like little sneak peeks of other villains like Professor Poopy Pants, the talking toilet, and also Melvin is in here at the same time. We could be seeing some creative gadgetry, or how they're going to adapt like all those crazy machines from the original books and turn it into computer animation. So maybe there could be a lot more in the computer animation that we're not seeing in here. But yeah, so far I would say that those are the good things that we have. But here is also the part of me that is a little bit worried with what's going to happen with it. Like, what would be the worst case scenario? Well, from what I can tell, number one is that I could definitely have that, like, I sense that there is a little bit of a cliched story that's going on. Like, in terms of the plot, it could be a little bit similar to something like E.T. or The Iron Giant, where you have a bunch of kids that discover this supernatural being who is also the titular character. And I guess the one thing that's supernatural about Captain Underpants is the level of intelligence. No, but anyways, like they like, you got a bunch of kids that have this supernatural being, and they're hoping, you know, they're trying to, you know, take him away from, like, hide him from society, unless like people find out, because like this kind of thing would not survive in the outside world. So it might have a little bit of a cliched, predictable plot that's going on, but also I am a little bit worried about the animation at the same time. Like I said, I understand why they want to go into the cartoony route with this, considering the utterly silly tone of the books, and also the art style itself, considering how it decided to stay very true to the original books. And I really am glad with it. At least, like, you know, they could have done a lot worse with it, where like their eyes could be a little bit more realistic, where they would add pupils and stuff like that just to make him look a little bit gross. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of animated films really do desperately try to add in pupils to add more like of a realistic sense to it, and it just really doesn't work out. But anyways, like, yeah, even though it's trying to go cartoony, I'm hoping that it's not really focusing on trying to be too cartoony. Like, if it wants to be more like those other cartoony animated films, like the recent Ice Age sequels or Hotel Transylvania, where it doesn't care about the writing itself, and it rather wants to do silly jokes through utterly goofy, over-the-top animation. Or worst case scenario, it might end up being like Food Fight or the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs films, where it's basically gone to the point where it has no care about the writing whatsoever. It's already garbage. And they're trying so desperately hard to be so over the top with its animation, where it's going to look like the filmmakers are just a bunch of idiots that have no idea what they're doing, with no comprehension on how animation works in the first place. But again, that would be worst case scenario. And like, it doesn't look like the Captain Underpants trailer is showing that it's going to be too over the top with it. I don't know. But also, I just want to add one more thing that it is a little bit bothersome for me. And that is actually with the cast. Okay, so I think no matter what, like, if you have at least seen the trailer, you don't have to watch, you don't have to read the books and stuff like that. If you have seen the trailer, I think we can all agree that George and Harold are kids, right? They're kids in elementary school. They're like in the 4th grade, or like 3rd or 4th grade, somewhere around that level. Who the fridge thought it was a great idea to bring in Kevin Hart and Thomas Middleditch to voice George and Harold, on top of having like other kids like Melvin being voiced by Jordan Peele? Like, seriously? I'm not saying that I'm not saying they're bad actors. You know, they, like, even in the trailer, they do deliver a pretty good performance. But they're just too old. They're not kids, for God's sakes. Like, they're supposed to play, like, just a fraction of their freaking age, and it's unconvincing whatsoever. Like, are you kidding me, dude? Like, I don't know. Like, the thing is that they also have Ed Helms, who's going to play, Professor Crump. Yeah, he's going to play, Mr. Crump and Captain Underpants. And, like, the kids sound like they're in the exact same age as the freaking principal. Are you kidding me? Like, why do you do this? I understand that this is DreamWorks Animation, and most of the time, they really want to bring in A-list celebrities and recognizable names to be voice acting in their films, not only for their performance, but also for promotional purposes. Like, hey, check it out. We got the director of Get Out, and we got Kevin Hart, and we got Ed Helms in this movie doing voices for freaking Captain Underpants. I get that, but still, man, it's supposed to be kids. Why the fridge are you getting adults to do the voices when they're not even trying to sound like kids? I don't know, man. It's just freaking ridiculous. I mean, this would be the equivalent if in Pixar's Coco, the main kid, like the main character Miguel, would end up being voiced by George Lopez. It would be the same thing. Well, it's like, why would you do that, man? Like, if you're gonna have kids, let them be voiced by kids. Go and audition kids, for God's sakes. I know it's going to be a lot more trouble than it is just hiring big name celebrities, but still, man, you need that authenticity to at least let us know that these kids are kids. And it's not just freaking Mini Kevin and Mini Thomas, you know? It's honestly just a ridiculous thing, and it is frequently happening in animated films. I don't know why this is a trend where kids cannot just be voiced by kids. It's utterly ridiculous. But yeah, other than that, I would say that overall, I do have some mixed feelings about it. I can see where it can really work. I can see where it can possibly fail. It can go in either direction. But for me personally, both as an animation critic and also as a Captain Underpants fan, I'm still going to stay optimistic about this. I'm going to hope for the best for this movie. Like, not just for the film itself, but also for DreamWorks Animation and also for 2017, just to have some of the good to wash off some of the terrible that we're going to get, like with Nutjob 2 and the Emoji Movie, so that at least we could say, yeah, we got those garbage films, but at least we got stuff like the Lego Batman movie and Captain Underpants. So I'm gonna hope for the best on this movie, and if you guys are excited to go see this film, then Captain Underpants will be coming out with his first ever movie on, I believe this June. Is it June? Yeah, it's actually in June. Hey guys, this is AniMat. I just want to remind you guys that this is just a little taste of what you can get with the Animation Podcast. This is not all of it. If you guys want to go and listen to the full episodes of the Animation Podcast, then allow me to show you some of the different ways that you can go. First off, you can actually go on the website that it is hosted on, Filmbook, so you can go directly onto there. You can also go and check out the official Filmbook Podcast YouTube page, so at least you don't have to go away from YouTube and you can listen to the podcast right there. But if you would like to listen on the go, like if you want to listen it to on your phone or on your iPad and all that kind of stuff, then you can listen to it on either iTunes or you can listen to it on Android. So those are all the different options, and if you'd like to have more info, then all you have to do is just check in the description down below. And with all that said, I just want to say thank you guys so much for listening, and until next time, see you later, dudes!